IFSA, Prosperity in Progress.
Welkom terug op Groot Plaas en Frikkie van Loggerenberg, hoofuitvoerende beampte daarso by IFSA is weer by ons vandag. Frikkie, goeiemôre en welkom terug.
Môre Doopie, dankie hierso.
Lekker met jou te gesels.
Amper tyd vir Mosambiek vakansie.
Wel, ons hoop vir 'n paar van ons, maar dit is nou nie vir almal bestem nie. Maar Frikkie, kom ons gesels 'n bietjie oor uitdagings wat julle netwerk van onafhanklike adviseurs sien. Ek dink veral wanneer dit kom by boerdery ook natuurlik generasiewelvaart skep is 'n groot ding. Maar wat is die uitdagings wat julle sien wanneer dit kom by generasiewelvaart?
Doopie, die grootste punt wat ons nou kyk is dat daar nie 'n strategie of 'n padkaart is van wat die doelwit is met hierdie generasie of hierdie familie se besigheid of se boerdery. Waantoe is alles op pad en die strategie wat daarmee volgens moet geïmplementeer word. Daar's baie keer is daar 'n bietjie grys area of is nou nie so goed saamgesit nie. Tweede punt is kapitaal wat glad nie reg geallokeer is of optimaal geallokeer is nie wat 'n bietjie van 'n impak het. En natuurlik die kommunikasie aspek is vir my 'n groot ding wat die tweede generasie en die eerste generasie of die derde generasie nie lekker kommunikeer nie, want baie kere is die seuns is in die buiteland, hulle wil nie aanhou boer nie. Wat doen 'n mens? Hou die plaas aan die gang, is daar strategie in plek, is daar 'n besigheid wat moet voortgaan of moet dit verkoop word? So daai kommunikasie is ook baie keer maar 'n probleem as dit kom by hierdie generasiebeplanning.
So jy het nou gepraat daarso van kapitaal wat nie optimaal werk nie. Wat bedoel jy met dit?
So as jy kapitaal in die verkeerde of in die verkeerde struktuur sit, dan groei jou kapitaal buite of binne jou boedel. Wat beteken jou kapitaalwins en jou boedelbelasting op die einde van die dag gaan 'n groot gedeelte van jou waarde vreet. Die ander gedeelte is as jou kapitaal in die verkeerde bateklasse is of weer eens in die verkeerde entiteit besit word of in die verkeerde entiteit lê. Wat beteken jy inkomstebelasting in plaas van kapitaal of kapitaalwinsbelasting op 'n hoër vlak. En natuurlik as jy kapitaal nie in die regte struktuur is nie, regte bateklasse is nie, dan optimaliseer nie, jy kry nie die beste groei wat jy kan met jou kapitaal wat jy daar het nie.
Maar ons het al voorheen bespreek, goeie boedelbeplanning kan hierdie tipe probleme uitskakel. So, wat is die grootste hakplekke wat julle sien as dit kom by doeltreffende boedelbeplanning?
Doopie, die grootste ding is ons kom by 'n situasie en dan begin ons hierdie ontleding doen. Dan sien ons dat daar 'n intensie was, daar is 'n struktuur, maar dit is nie deurgevoer nie. Of die plan is geïmplementeer, maar hy's nie bestuur nie. Om 'n voorbeeld te gee dat daar nou vra mense is jou trust se finansiële state op datum. Het julle vergaderings, het julle notules van vergaderings, het julle resolusies van besluite wat geneem is, want al die goede het 'n impak op jou struktuur of die integriteit van jou struktuur op die einde van die dag. En mense begin nie vroeg genoeg om seker te maak dat hulle daai planne in plek sit en in plek hou nie. So die verouderde gedeelte moet 'n mens heeltyd op datum hou.
Maar dit klink vir my na 'n verskriklike administratiewe taak wat moet plaasvind en is dit dalk een van die redes hoekom mense dit afstel vir so lank?
Definitief, want mense en dit kan 'n monster ontaard administratief gewys, maar as jy met professionele werk wat dit doen vir 'n lewe en saam as 'n span hierdie taak basies klein maak, dan is dit vir jou nie 'n probleem nie. Los dit vir die professionele, laat hulle worry oor die administrasie.
Jy het nou genoem mens moet hierdie ding holisties benader en hoekom is dit so belangrik om so holisties te kyk na wanneer dit kom by boedelbeplanning?
So as 'n mens die goed gaan segmenteer en jy fokus miskien net op totale groei of jy fokus net op belasting of jy fokus net op die struktuur, laat ek so kan sê. Hierdie dinge moet geïntegreer word waar jy holisties kyk na 'n totale boedelbelasting of 'n totale finansiële holistiese ontleding wat alles reg deurvat van wat jou wense is reg deur tot die laaste sent inkomstebelasting wat jy uiteensit en te optimaliseer so ver as wat jy kan. Want alles integreer met mekaar, alles het 'n effek of 'n impak met jou op jou strategie. So dit is hoekom dit beter is om na die totale prentjie te kyk en aan te hou kyk op 'n gereelde basis.
Maar Frikkie, vir daai kykers en die boere wat daar buite is wat sê luister, hierdie klink vir my na Grieks, ons weet nie wat om te doen nie. Hoe kom hulle in kontak met julle by IFSA?
Doopie, baie maklik. Is amper soos 'n WhatsApp, maar gebruik 'n SMS. En 'n SMS die woord kontak na 48422 en ons kom terug en ons gesels lekker met julle en maak seker dat almal op die regte plekke is.
Frikkie, altyd 'n plesier my vriend, baie dankie dat jy kom inloer het. Frikkie van Loggenberg, hy is die hoof van beleggingsstrategie en uitvoerende beampte by IFSA. So as jy wil kontak maak met Frikkie, is jy welkom om dit te doen. SMS die woord kontak na 48422. Ons is terug op Grootplaas net hierna. Ons is geskakel op Grootplaas en ons gas volgens Via Teams is Laura Rosmarin. Sy is 'n cluster catalyst by UVU Africa. Laura, good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me on your show. It's wonderful to be here.
So you guys are clearly busy with a very successful program there in Mpumalanga, and it's had a major impact so far. What would you say has been the most important factor to helping these 25 women farmers successfully enter the formal retail supply chain?
So I think really training and education and helping to see where the gaps are and what it is that the farmers need. We don't believe in a blanket approach, and we really structure all our programs to suit the needs of our participants. So it was really to understand where their gaps were, what they needed to move to the next growth checkpoints in their journeys, and how we could be a part of that and facilitate that.
So one of the biggest barriers, I think, especially in the rural area, is always training, access to markets. How did your program specifically bridge these gaps, and what was necessary to implement when it came to training?
So I think our first point of call was that we were incredibly fortunate to find an unbelievable group of female farmers in the area who were willing to learn, who were open to learn, and who wanted to move ahead in their journeys. I think tablets and data were absolutely game-changing, understanding where the particular gaps were, as I previously mentioned, and training in for those gaps, looking at business skills, marketing skills, how could they enter supply chain more successfully, and seeing what it is that they needed was absolutely crucial for us.
So over and above the 25 women farmers who've now successfully become part of this program, you've also created some jobs, 66 new jobs that have been created out of this program. What kind of jobs were created?
So job creation was really a key focus for us here. So these were permanent jobs, part-time jobs, farm worker jobs, administrative jobs, just to see how we can open up the pool to many more in the area. And we were incredibly excited about the fact that out of these 25 female farmers, we were able to create 66 jobs, which has really opened our lens onto what's next and what's possible in the region.
So what is quite interesting is how significant the formal market access has been, especially when it comes to small agricultural enterprises. More than 90% of your graduates are actually now supplying major retail chains and even school nutrition programs. How significant is the level of formal market access?
This is incredibly significant, and we needed to ensure that before we even began this program, that we had the ability to open doors and create networks for these farmers. And I think that was absolutely critical to the success of this program. We had wonderful farmers with incredible produce. We just needed to create the correct pathways for them to help them grow and scale and really become part of the formal supply chain process.
So you've also mentioned the farmers receiving tablets and digital tools. What practical difference has digitalization of the farming operations made?
I think this enabled them to really enter the digital economy, and there were specific tools that they were enabled with, tracking, monitoring, financial tools, marketing tools that they were able to use to access their markets in a more meaningful way. It also enabled us to reach our farmers through our workshops and our training. They were always able to be online, and we had access to them and they had access to us.
Now, there's a whole bunch of incredibly inspiring stories that's come from this project so far. Would you mind sharing a quick one with us?
So there've been incredible stories of farmers, many who'd lived on the streets for many parts of their lives, had then gone to school, fallen in love with agriculture, and really wanted to make a difference in their life. We have women across the spectrum of age, across the spectrum of ability. I think that what they all have in common is this drive, this grit, this energy, this absolute want to be better and want to create opportunities for others. And I think I'm personally so incredibly inspired by each and every one of their stories. I was recently in the region and got to hear from them and to really understand what it is that enabled them to move forward. Just an incredible group of women. And there are more. There are many, many more in the region. This is really just our first pilot program.
So, do you think these personal stories play a major role in motivating other farmers to believe in their own business and their own success?
Absolutely. I think it really it demonstrates just life-changing impact of programs like this. It creates role models for youth, young and old. It really generates jobs. It strengthens what's possible. And it's really only the beginning. And we're hoping that others in the area will see what these 25 were able to achieve and really believe that the opportunity could extend to them.
It's incredible to see that you guys have mentioned over 100% of the participants have reported higher yields and improved farm layouts after joining the program. What are the biggest changes you've observed on the ground?
So really, we've seen the women's confidence increased. We've seen better farm layouts, greater yields. As you mentioned earlier, job creation. So there are more people involved in the whole process and the system. But just a general upliftment of all the various processes across the value chain.
So regional farmer groups have been formed to promote collaboration and shared market access. How important is collaboration for the long-term sustainability of farmers in the province?
I think this is absolutely critical and crucial. You know, cluster support, coordinated support, demand and supply, farmers working together really strengthen the bargaining power. It's absolutely critical to the success of this process.
Well, Laura, thank you so much. It sounds like a really amazing project that you guys are running, and we can't wait to see what the rural female farmers are getting up to in 2026. Dis Laura Rosmarin, sy's die cluster analyst by UVU Africa. Dis al waarvoor ons tyd het vanoggend vir Groot Plaas. Ons hoop jy het lekker saam met ons gekuier. Sterkte met jou Dinsdag wat voorlê en dan sien ons mekaar weer môre.